This stone is just a small piece of our land, Nunatsiaq, Canada's north. But it's a link to a world which most people know very little about. While Inuit sculpture can be seen in museums and galleries, few people outside Nunatsiaq know about the artists behind the work. This is your opportunity to visit our land, meet the artists, and share some of the experiences of being an Inuk carver in Canada's north today. Although Inuit have been carving for centuries, modern Inuit sculpture began in the 1950s. At that time, the Canadian government encouraged Inuit to try carving as an economic activity and promoted our work as a new art form. Since then, sculpture has helped many of us earn a living. It has also given us another way to preserve our culture and to share it with others. Lucy Miko makes her home in Kuujjuaqapik in northern Quebec. Besides carving, she excels at sewing and basket making and is an internationally acclaimed ice sculptor.
My first carving was not a very good one, but as I carved more and more, I got better with time. It seemed to get better. I carved while my husband worked because I was too shy to show him my first carving. But soon I found that he really likes them. At night I would hide my carving because it was not a very good one. By lunchtime one day, I finally had the carving finished. I sold it. I sold it for $2, which at that time was a lot of money. This tool is usually the first. You use it to cut the edges or extra parts of the stone, because if you use the axe first, you will damage the whole stone. The second tool you use is the axe to shape the stone. When axes were brought in for the first time, you always saved the metal part even if the handle was broken. The material is very hard and it can be reshaped all the time. I'm satisfied living in houses because back then when we were living in tents, it was freezing cold. Even in early winter, it was freezing. It was so cold that you could hear the teacups cracking at night. For that reason, I like living in houses now. They're nice and warm. Back then we lived off the land by hunting. I loved being able to live off the land. I loved being able to go hunting with my parents. I grew up that way, and I will still live that way. The way of hunting. Even though different people are from different cultures, Every group changes. Our children and most of our relatives are now speaking more English than before. They also live more in the Southern way of life. I would like to see our culture equal to the Southern way of life. But I would not like to see the Inuit again living through the hunger as before. Our tradition and culture should be preserved for future generations. The Inuit before us lived twice as hard compared to today. I only carve once in a while because the dust from the stone greatly affects my lungs. Some time ago I had TB, so I do not carve as much as I used to. I don't compare myself with other carvers. It is hard to compare myself with others. Anyway, I stay up for a long time trying to figure out what I'm going to turn that stone into. When I wake up, I still think about what I will turn that stone into. It's the only thought I think when carving.
Uvilu Tunili is a full-time sculptor in Cape Dorset on Baffin Island. Twice as a small child, she was hospitalized in the south with tuberculosis. This traumatic experience continues to shape her life and her art.
I remember very well at age 4, I was sent down south somewhere. I was sent by ship. It was in 1955. I had tuberculosis. At the time, it was overwhelming. The first time they sent me, it was not a happy experience. It was like being in a jail cell. If I cried, they would tie me down. This is how it was. Like a child, all I could think was that I missed and wanted my mother. I know some traditional stories that I have heard. There are many stories, and some of them are just stories. But when I carve about things that I have actually experienced. I enjoy the view of the landscape for its peaceful nature. But it is harder work if you're going to stay out on the land. You have to set up your tent. You do not have the washing machine, so you have to wash your clothes in a lake. These are the only things that bother me. Some people say that it's very bad to see the traditional things disappear. But for me, I say it's better because it makes life easier. I don't live a traditional life today. When I first started carving, I did not use any power tools. I just used my hands with files and hatchets. In 1988, I started using power tools and have used them since. Part of the reason I use power tools is that I have an arm problem. I really like the color of the stone. That is why I carve. The marble I work with is my favorite stone because of the pink color. There are little crystals in there that give it a little sparkle. I have made many different carvings like these. Sometimes I try to make what would sell. I try to make carvings that people might like. Sometimes people don't seem to like them. Sometimes they do. I try to carve to what people might like. When I was in Vancouver, I made a nude carving and people liked it. So I made more of them. I like to work on human figures the most, and then on birds, because you can get more detail and more background. You can put more detail on them. I was thinking, why do people enjoy alcohol? I was thinking, why do people want a carving of people drinking alcohol when alcohol is no good? That is how I figure out how to make a carving. I want them to be recognized. I want them to be appreciated and admired.
Uriah Shpukirnak is the mayor of Joe Haven and a talented carver. As a young child, he came close to drowning and believes he was saved to serve his community and his people.
I did not have a father while growing up. I thought my mother could do very well in everything. She could make an igloo like a man. She could go hunting and look after and handle dogs before my older brother could do these things. I remember my mother used to carve. When the government introduced and encouraged the making of money through carving. When my mother died, she left behind a small piece of a stone she had been carving. It was a broken piece from a carving she had been working on. I started thinking, what am I going to make from this to support my children? All day I thought about this little piece of stone while looking at it, trying to figure out what I would carve it into. When I went inside, I still thought about it, even while drinking tea. I could not figure out what to turn this stone into. I know now that thinking about it was one of the heaviest and most frustrating days of my life. I finally had it figured out. It was going to be a seal. I made up my mind to make it a seal, and it became a seal. It became a seal, and it was recognizable. This is how it is. By following and learning from my mother, I can now carve. I have children, and my oldest child is 17 years old. He can now carve. He has learned how to carve. He can sell his own carvings. I have been the mayor for 2 years now, and I am helping to govern the region of Kitikmeot. I have two very important duties to perform. I am a carver and an elected public figure. I have to take being a political figure very seriously. While we are thinking of our traditions and culture, we must not forget our language. While I want my children and all other Inuit to be Inuit, we will not go back to living in igloos. We have to keep our language, our stories, and our identity alive. Our blood is Inuit, so we are Inuit. So we have to keep that. We have to follow our life, our traditions, our culture. The Inuit culture and traditions, the stories or legends that my mother talked about, I just can't leave them. I have to show them to others. The stories and legends, we can't just let them be stories and legends anymore. We have to try and let them be shown so that they are not just stories. If young people are going to show Inuit culture and traditions through carving, they have to be Inuit. If it is not an Inuk who tries to show Inuit culture through carving, it will be useless because he would not know Inuit culture and traditions. We have to think of our children. We have to think of their future. We have to tell them of our stories and legends so that they do not forget. We have to tell them so that they can carve them. They have to learn and listen to our stories. The Inuit who know these legends have to speak them now before they are gone. The young people who know how to carve have not heard our stories yet. When they have heard them, they will carve them.
In Nunatsiaq, each region and community has its own distinct carving style. While individual artists tend to follow these styles, they also have many different life experiences, and these are reflected in their ideas and in their carvings. In Nunavik, which is part of northern Quebec, Inuit like to carve people and animals in a way that is true to life. Favorite subjects like hunting and family scenes, legends, and stories are all carved with realistic detail. In the southern part of Qikiqtaluk, or Baffin Island, carvers seem to view the hard nature of the stone as a challenge. They struggle to shape and polish it, carving delicate, often very dramatic pieces. Carvers from the Kitakmut or Central Arctic use many different natural materials, often adding carefully inlaid details. Many also exaggerate or twist the facial features of their human, animal, or spirit figures. In Kibadlik, the Keewatin region, people and families are the most popular themes. Artists don't hide the rough nature of the stone. Most sculptures show fewer details and are not highly polished.
This is how it is. I know that waiting for something to happen won't accomplish anything. I try and work all the time. The only time I do not carve is when I'm physically sick. The more you work, the more you accomplish. If things have happened, I want them to be shown. For example, the carvings I do now will be around and be seen when I'm gone. The carving shows what life was like when the carver made them. That's how it is.
We follow our way of life through carving, and that is our life. The white people also carve, but that is completely different from our way of carving. That is their life. The southern people have their own way of life, their own way of carving. Our respective children learn from us. The children learn from their parents. The children must learn how to carve. The world has to learn about the Inuit and their culture and traditions so that they will not be forgotten.
I'm